Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. And this is a show about hope and happiness and trying to get you to drink my rose-colored Kool-Aid first thing in the morning so that you can have the best day possible. And in order to do so, I cover things that are good news, what's right with people. And I have a little clip from my interview with the mayor of Huntington Beach that I actually did a little bit ago. And have not had time to actually show it. But I think it's really important, especially when there's been so much on the news about where Huntington Beach is on the spectrum of valuing diversity or not valuing diversity, that you hear it from the top of leadership. So I wanted to play you that, as well as talk about what opportunities businesses have these days. And that's what I'll be talking about in the second segment. Just reacting to the news of Amazon's leadership stepping down and what Mr. Bezos is up to and what the opportunity is post-pandemic possibilities for companies. So if you're a business owner and you're having trouble filling your docket of workers, which a lot of companies are going through right now, it might be something to think about from your favorite organizational psychologist as I look at business value. And then in the final segment today, I'm happy to have a question of the day that encompasses a friend of mine who has gone through 2 bouts of chemo, breast cancer, and her question is about discipline and doing what you probably know what you need to do, but you just have such a hard time following that direction. So that's today's show. I hope you enjoy and stay here. And if you ever have any questions, if you ever have any comments, please do go to my website, drmarissa.life, and just fill in the subject there, as well as I'm very active socially, much to my daughter's chagrin. I'm even on TikTok, but if you go to Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa Pay, or Dr. Marissa everywhere else, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook page, then you can follow along. If you have any questions there, please do comment and I will address them on the air. So without further ado, let's listen to what the mayor of Huntington Beach says about racism and Huntington Beach.
Dr. Marissa reporting live. You know me as the Asian Oprah, and I'm here in Huntington Beach. And I know Huntington Beach has not exactly been in the good news for a little while. And when I saw this diversity picnic, I said, I got to go and cover this. So I hunted down the woman that was on stage that I ran down to catch as she was talking the words that made my heart sing. So this is the mayor of Huntington Beach. And
hi, my name is Kim Carr. I'm the mayor of Huntington Beach, and I'm so grateful that you came out to our first, hopefully annual community picnic pop-up. And this really was the brainchild of one of our council members to combat some of the negative news stories that have been going around about Huntington Beach, because we know this community, we've lived here our whole lives, and we know that Huntington is not, unfortunately, what you see on the news. I don't want to disparage our media partners, but There's actually a whole nother side to Huntington Beach, and particularly this last year during COVID, I really saw this community come together, whether it was distributing meals to seniors, calling people just to check in to see how they were doing, buying gift cards at different restaurants to make sure that they could stay afloat during this pandemic. And this community really does come together, and they take care of one another. And so when I see images at the pier that are not indicative of who we really are, it breaks my heart. So the council came out with a strong statement against racism, against the KKK, against Asian hate. And this is just one of many things that we're doing to highlight how we're a welcoming, inclusive community. And, you know, again, Huntington Beach, we're a huge tourist destination. We have over 4 million people that come here from all over the world. So this is a community that prides itself on being welcoming. Yes. And so this, again, is just one of the many things that we're doing to really highlight how Huntington Beach is more than what you just see on the news.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I stopped by. This is Kim Carr. She's the mayor of Huntington Beach. She's here to stand against
on the news.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I stopped by. This is Kim Carr. She's the mayor of Huntington Beach. She's here to stand against hate for Asians and for any people of color. And what you see about Huntington Beach in the news is not accurate and reflective of the good people of Huntington Beach. I take it a little personally. My bonus mom and dad live in Huntington Beach, and I'm like almost embarrassed when I watch about in the news. But the majority of the people here, as I understand it, in Huntington Beach, love diversity, value diversity, love people of color. As you can pan around for me right now to my fabulous cameraman that I just asked to do this, we have lots of vendor trucks here with diverse food. We have mariachi band over here.
Throughout the day, we have all different cultures represented here. And I mean, we have poetry, we have students here, we have the mariachi band, we're going to have some tribal drums later today. I mean, it's just a full day of really showing different parts of Huntington Beach that I think a lot of people don't see that in the news.
And it's wonderful seeing leadership. You told me how many past mayors are here?
So currently we have 5 mayors that came just to represent and to say, we stand with you. And I think that's really indicative of how much people love this community and they want it to be represented accurately.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, this is Dr. Marissa reporting live from Huntington Beach Pop-Up Diversity Picnic, signing out. Now, this is what I do at the end of every show. If you would do this with me.
Okay.
Peace in.
Peace in.
Peace out.
Peace out.
World peace.
World peace.
Through inner peace.
Through inner peace.
Yeah, I know that. I knew you would. I knew you would. Thank you so much.
And wasn't that fabulous? I'm so proud of the leadership of Huntington Beach because I actually raised both my daughters in Seal Beach next door. And as I mentioned, my bonus mom and dad live there. So all of the images that you see of the radical haters is not what Huntington Beach is. And I wanted to make that absolutely clear for all the listeners who have been thinking otherwise because of what you've seen on the news. And we'll be right back. We're going to take a little break here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA. Come right back. We'll have more. And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere on all the major platforms: Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, Audible. I know I'm missing at least 10 more, but just know that you can tune in anytime. And if you missed the first segment or any of my past shows, you can get them on my YouTube channel, as well as connect with me socially. Doc Balance on Instagram, Dr. Marissa or Dr. Marissa Pay on Twitter, Facebook, Facebook page, LinkedIn, and even TikTok. Don't tell my kids. But I'm here to splatter more hope and happiness on you. And I'm glad that you're tuned in here on your drive time to wherever you're going. And I thought, since we are in this new PPP, post-pandemic possibilities, this time where we are looking at what is new, what is happening. A lot of us are doing new things because we were forced to be a little more creative during the pandemic. Now that we're sort of coming out of it, the vaccinations are working. Yay to all of those who are taking responsibility for yourself and your family by doing the one thing that is scientifically proven to help us all move through the pandemic. Those of you who still insist that it's a conspiracy or it's a hoax, I don't know how else to plead with you to get the facts. And science and empirical evidence is not bad. Medical science is not bad. But for whatever reason, if you are being persuaded by not real science or conspiracy theory, I would just beg you to just start with a clean slate and look at those places that you used to trust. Harvard Medical School, Scripps Institute. You know, if you're against the government medical science, go to the journals, go to places that are not political, but go to the countries that are able right now to fend off the virus versus those who are not. But please use your noggin, use your brain. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, no matter what political side you're on, because we really, really want to get through this. But the one possibility, the one opportunity that I wanted to spend a little time on today's show talking about, because I was approached by a LinkedIn editor to write a piece as an organizational psychologist. Some of you know that's what my PhD is in, on this whole concept of hashtag create meaning. And if you're one of the people who were displaced by COVID and you're not being hired back, or you don't want to get hired back where you were working, then this is the segment for you, because I wanted, as an organizational psychologist, to talk about something really important that might be a hashtag COVID silver lining. We haven't thought about it since a long time, and that is hashtag create meaning. And if I look back at the history of work and the history of being employed by companies like Ford, who people were proud to be working for Ford because it helped create mobility for the masses. These days, I don't know a lot of people who are very proud of the company that they're working for, automobile or not. Apple, people who were working at Apple at the beginning, helping provide technology for the masses. They were proud to be working at Apple. How many people are really proud of where they were working before COVID? Hashtag BC19, what I call the time before COVID. How many people really, were like, hey, I work here and I'm proud of it? Probably less than a handful of companies who actually, their employees are proud to work there. So I think the pandemic, post-pandemic possibilities, is a real chance. So I'm talking to any new business owners, old business owners, people in leadership, in C-suite. Here's some free organization and development advice, and that is, in attracting employees, what have we learned from this pandemic about treating employees, about what happiness is in the work site? And so a couple of BS belief systems as an organizational psychologist that I bring to work when I work with my clients in leadership at work. One is, any employer that says, leave your personal life at home, right? You come to work, I just want your professional person. Professional at work, personal at home. So I really don't want to know about your personal life. It shouldn't matter. You are here to do your job. You have your marching orders. You're getting paid in order to do this amount of work, and it's not rocket science. And if you don't like it, here's the door. Unfortunately, that is the unspoken, sometimes even spoken message that employers give to their employees in an effort to make their company a smooth running machine. And I'm here to tell you, you're not going to get a smooth running machine at work because work is made up of humans. You cannot separate professional from personal. It is one person. The other thing is work and getting the job done is actually two things. On top is the task, and on the bottom half of the circle, so top half of the circle, if you're not watching, you're just listening, you might want to watch this after on my YouTube channel. The bottom half is relationships. So if you want to get the job done, the task part of it is supported by relationships on the bottom, which is why it's impossible just to be professional. So if you're a company that does not have development tools to help people get along, cross differences, cross diversity, cross opinions, cross different preferences, cross, a variety of different things that separate us, then you're going to be in trouble because people can't just get along. There have to be education. There has to be some skill-based training. There has to be on-the-job training to understand how good relationships not just between the people that work together in teams, but work together across silo. You're going to get a silo between manufacturing and marketing if manufacturing doesn't understand marketing and marketing doesn't understand manufacturing. So that is a very big opportunity, especially medium-sized companies. So small-sized companies, you're running with your idea, it's brand new, depending on entrepreneurial strength, you can sort of force yourself into growth. And once that growth plateaus, there's the time that it's so important to understand human dynamics at work. And that's my field, organizational psychology. And the reason why I'm harping on this is I read an Inc. article that talked about Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos, who stepped down. And so for a lot of people, they were wondering, everything's going good. Why is he stepping down? And he, at least on paper, is saying that he wants to make sure that Amazon doesn't die a extinct death like many big companies do because they get complacent or they don't attend to the employee culture. Is it more respectful or is it more fearful? Is it more based on trust and appreciation or is it based on competition and dog eat dog and, rat race? So this is where, he is wanting, his goal is that Amazon is the world's favorite employer. That's a huge statement. It's a huge goal, but I'm glad for all the things negative that I've heard about him in the media, when I came across this article, I thought, wow, this is truly a person who understands how human dynamics affect work and organization. So I wish him luck on that. But I'm appealing to all those companies. I know that it's been tough. I know that you struggled through COVID and you're just trying to get back on your feet. But if you're still there and you're wondering how you're going to, weather this next part of the journey, post-pandemic possibilities, if you can, really do, I facilitate these sessions where you're not just going back to normal, but you are setting some strong, actionable items in creating a culture that you can attract employees. Because employees right now are looking for companies with hybrid options. You can work at home, maybe not all the time. They're looking for, it's not just about the pay. They want a place where they can hashtag create meaning, because everybody really wants, here's a little secret, everybody really wants, beyond the paycheck, to know that they're important to the organization, to know that what they're doing matters, and to know that the job that they're doing is benefiting the planet somehow. This is definitely thanks to the millennial generation where I'd rather not work than work somewhere that is not helping the environment or not creating meaning for life and people on the planet, or not doing good things. So it's not just companies that once they reach a certain level of shareholder value, then they donate to places. It's companies that are actually incorporating doing good as part of their work. So hope you got something out of that. If you're a business owner, feel free to book some time with me for a little chat. Happy to elaborate on that or help with it. It is an opportunity right now. This is a time we've never had it before, coming out of a pandemic that we've never had before. So I'm hoping that little bit helped you. This is Dr. Marissa on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show, and we're going to come back in segment 3 with a question of the day. My friend Michelle came on. She's gone through 2 treatments of chemo for breast cancer, and she's asking a question about how do you do things that you know you should because it's good for you, but you don't feel like it. So come back for that on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere streaming, the station that leaves no listener behind. We'll be right back. And welcome back. You are tuned into Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. And it is a good morning to you. And I have a special guest with our question of the day. So hang on to your seats, hang on to your heart, and see if there's anything in here that might help you with your happiness 88% of the time. Welcome to the show to Michelle from Colorado. Hi, Michelle. How are you?
I'm lovely.
Good. I'm going to start us off by connecting energetically. So feet on the ground, palms up in your lap, eyes gently closed, taking a deep breath in through the nose. And release, soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. And another deep breath in. And releasing all the stories and the drama. And one more deep breath in. Connecting with me through Chi, eternal energy, the breath of life that connects us all. And in the release, eyes gently open, come back to the room. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and let's go for physical well-being first, 10 being fabulous, 1 being not so great, how would you rate where you are on the scale of physical happiness, physical well-being happiness?
I would probably say around a 6.
Okay. And now let's move to job or career. I know pandemic has hit us all, but just in general, on a scale, same scale, 1 to 10, 10 being fabulous, where would you rate yourself on job and career?
It'll need an explanation, but about an 8.
8. Okay, that's good. 8's my goal, as you know, not 10, because 10 is perfection, and that's a dis-ease with life. And then last but not least, relationships. So it doesn't have to be romantic, it can be, but in general, the state of your relationships in your life. 1 being horrible, 10 being fabulous.
And I would have to go with a 8 to 9 in that area.
Okay, so that's an amazing. Great. So we've confirmed. And so as we do, what I like to do is start with appreciating and grateful for the fact that you've got 8 and 9 in relationships and in job and career, which is really good. It's the most that I ask my clients to have, so that they can give themselves a little break when things aren't going perfectly. But let's focus in on the one physical well-being. And then I also want to hear your qualification on the job career, because you piqued my interest on that one. So let's start with that one. Why is your job and career at an 8?
So I don't have a lot of expenses. I've set my life up so I'm low on expenses, just for the sake of being able to do what I love. I currently am unemployed, but refusing to become employed with anything that's going to be less than giving me joy. So
Good.
I'm a cancer survivor. So after the second bout, I just told myself, if it's not giving me joy, it can't be in my life, because that's not going to be a good plan for the insides of myself. So
Yes.
I am. I'm searching in the helping fields where I can make a difference. I want to have.
Oh, I just lost your. I lost your microphone.
Oh,
that's better. You're on again.
better put that on airport mode. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's why. All right.
Yeah, so I am looking with a cheerful heart, and knowing that I have guidance, and where I'm supposed to be and whom I'm supposed to be with is going to come true. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll just do a little validation there. I'm grateful that you recognize that. And I'm hoping that people who are coming out of the pandemic will understand, if you hated your job before and you wanted to quit, now's probably, if you've been laid off or you don't have that job anymore, before rushing back into what you were doing that you hated, that this is the best time, because there is, the job market is for the employee, not the employer right now. So if you believe in the skills that you have and feel, which is always what I want you to feel, that you are unique, you have unique talents, gifts, and abilities, then from that place, it's much easier to look for a job and to allow the best possible job to come to you. So kudos, and I'll give you a little applause on. And that applause is to recognize your recognition of that, which is so important. Yeah. So let's go to the question then, or the category is health and well-being. You mentioned that you've gone through 2 bouts of cancer, which is tough, and kudos again. People are going to think that, well, fine, I'm going to give you because that super does deserve 2 bouts of cancer. Can I ask what kind of cancer it was?
And I'm 3.5 years on this side with cancer free. So
that's awesome. And so it is breast cancer. Okay. And when were you diagnosed?
2009, I had a bout, and I had a lumpectomy, and then 9 years later, it came back in the same breast. I've since had a double mastectomy, and went through a pretty rigid chemo procedure and protocol, but they said they put me through that to let me die of old age and not have cancer re-enter my body. So I'm trusting that is true, and every day just scan it out. So yeah. So I wanted you to get into detail about that, because I know that
there are listeners out there right now who are either going through it themselves, afraid of going through it, having gone through it, and also know someone who's gone through it. So I wanted to make sure that we put the moose on the table, so to speak, my Canadian version of the elephant in the room. And you've been a friend for a long time, and I've watched you walk through this this journey with cancer, with breast cancer, very gracefully most of the time, which is amazing. So
attitude counts.
Attitude counts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I was going to ask you, what made that difference? It's funny because when you said you had a question for me, I thought to myself, I really should go through your whole journey on that, because I think it would be helpful to people on the show. And guess what we're doing?
It happened. Awesome. Yeah.
It does. But I want to get to your question first, and I'm sure the stuff that I wanted to be covered will be covered. Mm-hmm. So, your question?
Well, my question is about self-discipline. How do you go from an undisciplined person who I mostly have fun with my undiscipline. So to be able to cross that bridge to adult response, which is where it comes with my health, diet and exercise and drinking enough water, it all just takes self-discipline. And I'm such a gypsy brain girl to bring myself into self-discipline is just mostly just undesirable, nothing else. So that's pushing myself in those directions and being able to still keep a happy heart about it instead of it feeling humdrum,
Yes. Yeah. Or being told what to do.
Right.
Okay. Right. It's a great question. I actually deal with this whole fight in ourselves in my book, 8 Ways to Happiness. In the chapter 1, I deal with the character that you're describing is the brat, and we all have an internal brat. So let me go back for a second. Everybody knows about your internal critic. I think that we've talked that one all the way through, and everybody knows that there's someone inside of us that is constantly criticizing us. You shouldn't have said that. You should eat this. You shouldn't eat that. You should exercise. And then what happens as a response to the critic is we develop an internal brat. Mm-hmm. So, Michelle, you have a very strong internal brat because you also have a strong internal critic. And because you have had a strong internal critic, your brat is probably stronger even than the critic. So the first thing I'd like you to do is recognize that you are not your brat. You are not your brat, and you're not your critic. You are balanced, centered Michelle. So from this point forward, today is July the 8th. From July 8th on, I'm introducing Michelle to herself, balanced, centered Michelle. So BCM is who you really are. That is who you really are. Now, balance-centered Michelle says things like, I get why you don't want to do this. I understand that you've had an identity as a gypsy, and I understand that you take some pride in that, and you love the freedom and the hair flowing any way it wants and doing exactly what you want to do, and no one's going to tell you what to do because you're not the boss of me. So balance-centered Michelle recognizes the two fighters. So I want you to also meet. So first of all, say hello, put your left hand on your heart and say, hello, balance-centered Michelle.
Hello, balance-centered Michelle.
I love you.
Love you.
I know who you are.
I know who you are.
And you are totally connected.
And you are totally connected
to the beautiful energy of a friendly universe.
to the beautiful energy of a friendly universe
that loves us
that loves us
and it conspires for us
and conspires for us
and never against us.
and never against us.
So I'm connected
So I'm connected
to the wisdom of the universe.
the wisdom of the universe.
And so it is.
And so it is.
All right. So that's who you really are. Okay. Now I want balance-centered Michelle to meet the other two cast of characters who've been basically driving your car, your life car off of a cliff. So the first one is the critic. So I want you to name your critic. Who is the person who was most critical of you when you were growing up? And you don't have to say their name. You can
Right.
you can say their initials, or usually it's a primary figure. In my case, it was my mom, so I call my critic Rose. And guess what? My mom's name is Rose. So we're not using it to criticize. We're using the name to quickly identify who's talking.
Mhm.
So I know when we grew up, we were told if you hear voices in your head, you're crazy. I'm here to tell you, if you do not identify the voices in your head, you will go crazy. So my balance centered Dr. Marissa is who I am. And then I have a critic named Rose, and your critic is named
I would call it shame.
Shame. Okay.
So
So let's call him Seamus. Okay. So it's an actual name. All right. So balance centered Michelle, I want you to put your arm around Seamus, put your right arm around Seamus and say, darling,
I
love you.
I love you.
But you have been yelling at me for my entire life.
You have been yelling at me for my entire life.
You've told me that I'm too fat.
You've told me that I'm too fat,
I'm too lazy.
lazy,
I'm not disciplined enough.
not disciplined enough.
That no one likes me.
No one likes me.
That I don't do anything right.
That I don't do anything right.
That I'm good for nothing.
And I'm good for nothing.
And that I'm never going to get it right.
And that I'm never going to get it right.
And guess what?
And guess what?
You're wrong.
You're wrong.
And yes, sometimes I'm not perfect.
Definitely I'm not perfect.
But 80% of the time, I'm pretty cool.
But 80% of the time, I'm doing a good job. Yep.
I'm loving, lovable, loved.
I'm loving, lovable, and loved.
And I'm wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness.
And I'm wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness.
And you are too.
And you are too.
So I want you to have a seat.
Have a seat.
In the passenger seat.
In the passenger seat.
Put your seatbelt on.
And buckle in.
I know you're tired.
I know you're tired.
You've been yelling at me for decades.
You've been yelling at me for decades.
It's time for you to take a vacation.
Time for you to take time off.
So you get sit down.
Sit down.
And enjoy yourself.
And enjoy yourself.
You can do the, back seat directions all you want.
Yeah. You can drive all you want. Yeah.
But I've got this.
I'm
driving. I love you.
I love you.
Everything's going to be okay.
Everything's going to be okay.
All right. So now you've met your critic, Seamus. Your balance-centered Michelle's driving your life car. Seamus is in the passenger seat. Now, this is the good one. This is the tough one because she's been driving for the longest time. All right. So what's a good name for your brat? Everybody has a brat. Mine's named Agnes. I don't know if it's because of that movie, Agnes of God, that I loved watching. But what's your brat's name?
Let's call her Lucy.
Lucy? Lucy? Okay, that's a good one. All right. So
Loosey goosey.
Lucy Goosey. Yeah. Her middle name's Gypsy, right? Lucy Gypsy Goosey. Okay. So left arm around Lucy. Hi, darling.
Hey, darling.
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
You're so much fun.
Are a lot of fun.
And you get us in trouble all the time.
And you make my life super hard.
And I don't want to lose the fun part of you.
I don't want to lose the fun part of you.
But the belligerent, not acting on our own behalf, get us into trouble, long-term pain is not helping us.
Yeah, your little self-will riot is not helping at all.
Yes. So I'm going to love you.
I'm going to love you.
And put you in the back seat.
And put you in the back seat.
Yeah. Kitty corner so I can keep an eye on you. So you're going to sit behind.
And see you in my rear chair. Yeah.
Yes. You got to be, you can come out and play.
You can come out
when we get to our destination, but not before.
When we get to our destination, but not before.
I promise.
We'll
have plenty of play dates.
We'll have plenty of play dates.
But not all the time.
But not all the time.
I love you.
Love you.
And we're going to have so much fun.
We're going to have fun. And you'll be fine.
Yes, and you'll be just fine. I will definitely let you out when you need to pee, but I got this.
I got this.
Balance-centered Michelle. I got this. I got this. I got this. Okay? Beautiful. So now we have her where we want her, which is protected, but not in the driver's seat. There's one more cast of character that most people have, and that is the sad one. And the sad one is the one who was hurt when she was little. And that speaks to the 7 out of 10 of us. By psychological research, my honorable moniker Oprah says it's as high as 8 out of 10 of us. Psychology research today says it might be as high as 94% of us have been through childhood trauma. So the sad one is the one that we either withdrew into and became completely immobile and completely isolated and completely immovable. Okay, so like chronic depression or very deep depression, that's the child, the sad one, who couldn't develop out of that. Or the sad one was repressed so hard. So it's either all in the surface with the symptoms of depression and sadness all the time or most of the time, or repressed so far down that it's not allowed to feel at all. So people who cannot cry at all, who find it very difficult to cry or express or have any kind of feeling, are the ones who used repression or pushing down that sadness so that they don't even know how they're feeling. People who, when I ask people, how are you feeling? And they don't know what that means to even get in touch with feeling, it's a signal for me that they've pushed down. And then a lot of the people who come out in midlife crisis, or I call midlife opportunity, start crying all the time, don't know why. That's usually a signal. So the sad one, what are you going to call the sad one?
Shelly Belly.
Shelly Belly. Yeah, that's a cuteness. So again, put your left hand on your heart. So that's your little one. Hi, Shelly Belly. I love you so much.
Hi, Shelly Belly. I love you so much.
I know that what happened to you was not good when you were little.
What happened to you was awful when you were little.
And it was none of your own fault.
And it was not our fault.
And I promise I'll never let that happen to you again.
I promise nothing like that will ever happen again.
But the good news is... all of what happened to us
All of what happened to us
actually happened for us.
happened for us.
And we are a collection of the best of what's happened for us.
We are a collection of the best of what has happened for us.
And I promise
Promise.
that you can cry anytime you want, as long as it's not going to hurt all of us. But I promise every week we're going to spend a little time watching a sad movie or taking a bubble bath so you can feel what you want to feel.
Yes, your pain
Yes.
up at any time, and I will be here to witness it and have it for you.
There you go. Beautiful. Now you get to sit behind me
Now you get to sit behind me.
because I got you.
I got you.
Take a deep breath and release. And in that out breath, you are now integrating all of you into the wholeness of who you are. And now, when I say discipline, it's going to be a whole new ball game. It's not you telling Gypsy what she can, Lucy Gypsy, what she cannot do. And I'm going to change discipline to blissipline.
Oh,
It's a term from my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, and I steal from him often. But blissipline, it is cutting yourself some slack, but knowing that you're acting on your own behalf. So, I know you're not going to feel like it, Lucy, doing what you don't want to do every day. But I promise that if we do this, you get to do something you want to do afterwards. So you're going to start to make deals with all the cast of characters. And when you do that, then it's balance-centered Michelle calling the shots and soothing everybody else. Now, this is not a light switch. It's kind of like a large boat where you start turning and nothing happens. But if you do this for 21 days consecutively and do just like easy stuff, 4 glasses of water a day. The next week it's 5 glasses of water. It's a 5-minute walk. And next week is a 10-minute walk. And you begin to reward yourself in your blissipline as you're soothing everybody in there. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an easy thing. And when the voice says, "This sucks, man. This is baloney. You're not the boss of me." And you're going to say, "I hear you, Lucy. I hear you. I get you. And at the same time, I got this. And I promise that if you do this,
you're still buckled in and we're not there."
Exactly. Exactly. And we're out of time. So I'm going to just say thank you.
Thank you.
Because I know this little question and answer is going to help a lot of people. And I want you to check back in with me after 21 days
I will.
and let me know what happened. So I'm going to hold you accountable too.
I will.
All right. Thank you so much, Michelle. And that is it for today's show of Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. If you have a question for me and would like to get on the air, drmarissa.life, and put your name in there. If you have a product or a service or a book, then also contact me there and I'll let you know what it's going to take. But just keep it tuned to Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and everywhere streaming, the station that leaves no listener behind. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live, wishing you the best day ever. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace.